I'm Rob York, your chair, compare, commentator, moderator, rural surveyor, general sheepdog. So I will be nipping at your ankles most of the morning, so before I hand over to Richard for the afternoon. An Italian writer said a few years ago, if we want things to stay as they are, things will have to change. And by goodness, the rural sector is in the thick of it. Some, if not many, of the topics currently being discussed in the UK rural sector were not even on the rural radar a few years ago. And I might go a little bit further and challenge the room early on to say some of those subjects actually should be a little more embedded within rural thinking at this stage. Land use optimization, 25-year farming roadmap, trees for roof trusses, food self-sufficiency, food security, conflated quite often, consumer taste, agricultural productivity, resilience, 30 by 30 nature restoration. Who's heard of OECMs? Anyone? In relation to 30 by 30, so one hand goes up. Those are other effectively managed and conserved areas. So it's not just 30 by 30 protected, it's other areas. Opportunity there. Government funding, grants, private finance. Have you seen the amount of money in the private sector? However, is it coming to the front? The media, illusory truth effect of repeating perceptions from the past around, let's say, solar and the area that it takes. Grade 1 land must be for food. The numbers of released pheasants, conifers, the perceptions of forestry, deer numbers, benchmarking costs, tree planting targets. I could go on, but I won't. Firstly, who's here? How many non-qualified, APC in the trajectory towards becoming a qualified member? How many in the room, please? Just put hands up. How many we got? Okay, right, so the rest, okay. How many from, say, county councils? County council, rural surveyors, environmental NGO, rural surveyors, okay. Private firms, okay, right, about 50% there roughly. Sole operators, rural surveyors, yep, okay, a few hands up there. Who's here, okay, come on, be honest, who's here just to passively, I won't do the fine for that. Who's here passively just to absorb CPD? Go on, just be honest. Good honesty, there we are, the 3 hands there. Okay, well, make sure you don't get the microphone, but then I might force the microphone towards you. Okay, right, also, just a little more interaction. Who's open-minded? The whole room, yeah. On a scale of 0 to 10, how open-minded are you? 10 is really open-minded, 0 is not so. But there's a grade between the two. So 10, okay. 8, so, okay, great, okay. So, and then the final question is, when was the last time that you changed your mind on something that you felt very passionately about? Okay, right, we've got room to maneuver. We've got room to maneuver there. Okay, because the format this year is perhaps a little more dynamically interactive than previously. I have had a little chat with the speakers, so hopefully they're going to present the topic, reduce the slides, or speed over the slides, so we can then open it to the room. There are 2 roving microphones, and there are house rules. Pithy, pertinent, on topic, or the topic being discussed. Also, discuss amongst yourselves. It doesn't always have to be up to the speaker. It can be someone else in the room. No mission statements, please. Questions, observations, knowledge transfer, because you're all experts in your own world. I have got strict command over the 2 roving microphones. If I do that, the microphone will disappear. So think about your question before it comes up. That's really because we want to hear from as many of you as possible, with a diversity of views as well. So it's not being recorded, so everything's kind of off record, so to speak. So it's a good opportunity to have a bit of interaction around that. At the RICS breakfast at the Royal Welsh in 2018, who was there? Okay, right. A couple of people there. The then CLA president told the crowd very bluntly, the status quo is over. Business as usual is not an option. Future RICS conferences will cover topics that are not even in our mind right now. So during these uncertain, disruptive times, don't rely on predictions. A farmer up in the Lake District once said to me, he said, Rob, you're rarely a prophet in your own parish. Because when you predict stuff, you are inherently wishfully motivating your reasoning, not looking at the objective science. As an Oxford philosopher said, algorithms are often the hitmen sent by companies to carry out their will to power. Instead, to be resilient, prepare, don't predict. Add professional value to land in all its opportunistic creative forms, because if you don't, someone else will. So on that note, I'm going to hand over to the president of the RICS, who's going to say a few words. Thank you.